Yeah. Really feel a burn in the back there, yeah. Alright, let's do some squats. 1, 2, it's good enough. Whew. I gotta get limber for this. It's been a long time since I've been back. Oh yeah, get that shoulder. Woo! Been a while since I've been back in the Thomas and Friends home media review state, and I might be a little rusty here. Hang on. Let's see if I got this right. Hello everyone, welcome back to Thomas and Friends home media reviews. This review is on the United Kingdom release known as First Class Stories. Let me just be the first to say here, guys, welcome back to Thomas and Friends home media reviews. This is a show that I gotta be honest, I never thought would come back, but it just keeps rearing its ugly little head. It never wants to go away. And hey, as long as you guys want to keep providing me with stuff to cover here on the show, I'll keep doing it. And I say that because the majority of content that I'm going to be covering here on this revival season of Thomas and Friends home media reviews was provided to me by a fan of the channel. His name is Dan. I don't remember what his channel name is. He changes it like every other day. His channel will be linked in the description, and with every release that I cover here that he sent to me, I will give him a shout out in the close-up section. First Class Stories was not sent to me by Dan, however. First Class Stories I picked up myself off of eBay before he approached me with that huge lot of stuff to send me. But I'll give my personal history with First Class Stories here in just a little bit. Right now, let's go ahead and get into the release history of First Class Stories. So First Class Stories has 2 release dates that are listed on the Thomas and Friends wiki, which is where I primarily get a lot of my information for these videos. The first date is the 14th of August in 2015. That's when First Class Stories apparently hit the iTunes store for the first time. And about 3 days later, on August 17th, 2015 is when First Class Stories hit DVD. Now that's standard practice, at least over here in the States, for a major release to hit digital platforms about 2 weeks before the physical release, but only 3 days. That's a little odd, not gonna lie. And why not? Since there's such a short history section here, I'll give you my personal history of First Class Stories and why I chose it to be the first episode in this season revival. First Class Stories was rumored to be a United States DVD back in 2015 whenever it was first announced, sort of. It was rumored, but announced. It was odd. We actually talked about it over on community radio, over on Matt Twillman's show, Getting with the Times. It was a little talk variety show where Matt would bring on a variety of guests. Me and Roman's TBR Empire were the first to ever appear as guests on that show. I don't know if that show's still online or not. I haven't looked at the community radio channel in a bit. But then shortly after that episode aired, it was confirmed to be a United Kingdom only release, so we looked like a bunch of fools. So I've always had an interest in seeing what content was on this DVD, and when I was poking around on eBay for United Kingdom Thomas DVDs, First Class Stories was one of the first to pop up, and that gave me a nostalgic flashback of, hey, I remember talking about that on a community radio show, and it turning out to not be a United States release. So here we are, full circle. I'm covering it here on Thomas and Friends home media reviews. Got the trivia section here of the Thomas and Friends wiki that's open up here, and it says here, to date, this is the final UK release to feature live action produced episodes. That is really unfortunate. After 2015, it's like they just stopped acknowledging that the classic series was a thing over in the United Kingdom. I think even over here in the United States, our classic series releases dwindled to just like reprints of Thomas's Snowy Surprise and Thomas's Halloween Adventures. And here's another little fun trivia fact for you. The trivia section says that this DVD was included free with multiple Hornby sets shortly before Hornby announced that they would be discontinuing their Thomas and Friends range. This DVD offered with Hornby sets. See, I don't really see that like as a thing. I mean, I assume it's true. I mean, it's on the internet. Of course it's true. But I just don't really see like DVDs being offered with expensive train sets. You know, Hornby has always been like the premier brand for Thomas, other than Bachman. That would be like, hey, the Best of Thomas is included with a Bachman starter set. Like, these things aren't really for kids. They're for adult collectors. I don't know. I just found that interesting that First Class Stories was apparently included in a couple Hornby sets, and I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell me which ones. With all that being said, though, guys, that wraps up your history section. Let's move right along to the close-up. Alrighty, everyone. Here's your close-up look at First Class Stories. Starting off here at the top, we have a banner that says 20 exciting stories from 1984 to today, and a little 70th anniversary coin there. I almost called it a button, but it looks more like a coin to me. I really like that 70th logo. I wish we would have seen that more over here in the United States. We have a nice photo of CGI Thomas there with the Thomas and Friends logo up there at the top. Down at the bottom, First Class Stories, and a little ticket design there for the logo. I really like that. It's kind of confusing, though, because you got First Class Stories over here and then a big number 1 over here. Like, I get it. Thomas's number is number 1. But couldn't you have, like, maybe just had that red? Or maybe put the First Class Stories in the center of the ticket and then have the punch cards maybe moved over just a bit. It's a little gripe I have with this front cover. It's a bit weird. Also, Thomas is jumping the tracks, and that's unrealistic. That would never happen in the Railway series. We have our UK rating system down here at the bottom, rated G. No, that's not the UK rating system. That's like Ireland or something. Scotland, maybe. That's the UK rating system there, rated U for Universal. Spine, hit logo, Thomas Friends logo, First Class Stories, portrait of Thomas from the front, and then both of our logos reprinted again. The back, over 2.5 hours, I have a blurb about this release. Your story stops are there on the bottom. We do indeed have over 20 stories. Unfortunately, only 5 of them are model series stories. I would have liked to have seen a 50-50 split, maybe, like 10 episodes from the model series, 10 episodes from the CGI series, but that's getting into review territory. This is just a close-up look at the packaging. I do like the ticket artwork once again here. I think they did a good job with that. Link to the Thomas and Friends website, legalese and stuff down at the bottom, and then your ratings once again. The UK really loves plastering its ratings all over their DVDs. And we open up the case. The disc is a squished up version of the poster art, again with your ratings right there on the side of the disc. I really like this red case, too. I just like when cases are different colors than standard DVD case black. It just makes it feel more special. Now here's something that we haven't heard in quite a while for regular Thomas and Friends home media reviews. It's time for a menu tour on a UK DVD. I have a method that works now. Last season I talked about having a method that worked, but that method didn't work at all, actually. I jumped the gun a bit on that, but I've tested this method over the last few weeks. It's worked every time, so without further ado, let's jump into a menu tour of First Class Stories. Alrighty everyone, here we are for a menu tour of First Class Stories. As it turns out, me being the supposed computer geek that I am, I was poking around in the settings of my external Blu-ray drive here, and I found out that you can actually switch the region settings in your drive. So mine was set to region 1, and now the disc is playing. You know what? We're just gonna hit pause right there. You're gonna look at the Brit Allcroft B holding there for just a minute. So I was looking at the settings on my external Blu-ray drive, and you can switch the region settings. Mine was, of course, set to region 1, so I scrolled down, switched it over to region 2, and now all of my region 2 DVDs play perfectly in it. This wasn't the original way that I was going to capture these menu tours. It was always going to be through a computer, not my normal way of doing things. I had an old Asus laptop that had an internal disk drive that I'm pretty sure was region free, because any disk that I put in there would play perfectly. It didn't matter what the region settings were. That laptop is having some battery trouble right now. So in order to get this video done on time, I'm having to use my external Blu-ray drive here. Now everyone's probably asking me, are you going to go back and do menu tours for the last season of Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews where you didn't do menu tours? And the answer to that question is yes. I have a limited number of times that I can switch the region on this drive. So as of right now, I am going to use this region 2 setting for all that it's worth. And look, there's the Brit Allcroft logo once again. Hopefully that doesn't get me copyrighted, because this is muted right now. So let me be the first to welcome you all to a brand new setup here for UK menu tours. This isn't a permanent change, but this is how menu tours are going to be shown here whenever I have a United Kingdom release to show off here, or any release from any other country for that matter. So this is the First Class Stories menu. It's pretty basic. You've got the poster art over here, and then a little box here with clips from episodes that are actually on this release playing over here. Then you have play all, select an episode, and an option to turn the subtitles on or off. It isn't any bonus content on this. It's just subtitle options. So we're going to go ahead and move on to select an episode. Here's most of your classic series offering. We have Thomas and Gordon, Flying Kipper, Escape, Jet Engine, Gallant Old Engine, Snow Tracks, Henry's Good Deeds, Charlie and Eddie, Jitters and Japes, Happy Hero, Stop That Bus, Flash Bang Wallop, Bust My Buffers, Percy and the Calliope, Steamy Stafford, The Switch, Bill or Ben, Not So Slow Coaches, Toad's Adventure, and Duck and the Slip Coaches. As far as a menu goes, that's pretty much it for First Class Stories. A lot of long-winded explanation at the top of this episode, but let me just go ahead and show you how good these episodes look. I'll go back to select an episode here. Let's take a look at Flying Kipper. Why not, right? Jump right into it here. Look at that footage. It doesn't look too bad, right? For a DVD, you know, the colors are very pronounced, at least in the shot where Henry's wheels were moving. The colors aren't very good in this shot here, but we move forward a little bit more here. I mean, I'm kind of impressed. Like, it doesn't look terrible like a normal DVD over here in the States would. Someone will probably correct me in the comments, but I don't know if this is the restored footage for season 1 that they're using for this release, or if it's the unaltered masters from like the 90s or something. It's hard for me to remember which versions of the episodes I'm actually looking at here. Just a brief spoiler alert here, but for classic series offerings, only 5 episodes, not your best choices, First Class Stories. I mean, Thomas and Gordon, Flying Kipper, Escape, and Gallant Old Engine are all solid choices. Thomas and the Jet Engine, though, people like that episode. I like it, personally. Is it a first-class story? Not really, but cool that it's here. At least the classic series is getting some representation. It's not just CGI stuff, but there's definitely a lot more CGI stories on this release than classic series, more than I would prefer. But that wraps up your menu tour for First Class Stories. Let's go ahead to head on back and answer the 5 main questions as always. All right, so we're back from a close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? In the UK, it's not available here in the States unless you import it off of places like eBay, or you buy it off of someone who's already imported it. I'm pretty sure mine came from the UK because it showed up brand new in the shrink wrap and it took forever to show up. So probably had to cross over some seas to get here. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? Gotta say no to this one. I mean, it's been almost, 6-7 years since this came out. There's no way they're still putting this on store shelves over in London. Number 3, should you pick this product up? First Class Stories is an interesting release because despite its title, the episodes that are included here I would not deem as first class. I talked about this during the menu tour, but the classic series stuff, that's all good. Like Thomas and Gordon, obviously a first class episode. It's the very first one. You gotta have that here. The Flying Kipper is great. I watched this release on the way to Florida, actually, and I watched it in the wee hours of the morning. So the Flying Kipper hit differently when I was watching this at like 5 in the morning and the sun hadn't even come up yet. I recommend doing that. Watching the Flying Kipper early in the morning. It hits different. Do I even need to say that I like Escape? It features my favorite character. It's his introduction. I remade the episode, for God's sake. Of course I like that one. The Gallant Old Engine is a great one too. That one's good. Thomas and the Jet Engine, I still like. I like that episode. I think it's fun. But a first class story, I just don't know what they were thinking with that one. Like maybe another episode from season 6, like Percy's Chocolate Crunch or something, like one that's really, really good and like everybody agrees is really good. I don't know though. Thomas and the Jet Engine always feels like a guilty pleasure to me. But whoo boy, it is a long time after Thomas and the Jet Engine before we get back to good content. I didn't have the case with me while I was watching this in the car ride to Florida. I only had the ripped file. And the model series segments last about a half hour. Then we jump into the CGI stuff, which is all in widescreen. And oh boy, I was just... I wouldn't say I was dreading this, but Snow Tracks is just... it's not a bad episode per se. It's decent. They have the Michael Angelis version here, not the Mark Morgan re-narrated version like over here in the States, but Snow Tracks I feel like is a story where you could rework it and it would actually like be better. Like if you had a better team of writers, you could have used this basic outline and made it seem like it was more fun. As it stands though, Snow Tracks is a standard 3 strikes and you're out formula type episode, and it's just not great, but it's not bad either. And these other episodes like Charlie and Eddie, Happy Hero, Flash Bang Wallop, I mean, all of those feel exactly the same. I don't even need to mention them all here. Percy and the Calliope, I just... none of those are even worthy of being on this release. Except for Bust My Buffers. That one is another... in concept could work episode, but as it stands, it's ruined by bad dialogue and really dumb storytelling, but it could have worked. I don't know what the community's consensus on Steamy Stafford is, but that episode's meh to me. I mean, it's not great, it's not bad either. It's way better than, something like Flashbang Wallop or Jitters and Japes. I would much rather watch Steamy Stafford than those, but that one always seemed like a real low point in season 17 for me. However, every story after that, I really enjoy. The Switch is a fun one. I feel that's underrated. Not a lot of people talk about that one. Not So Slow Coaches is fun. Toad's Adventure is fun. Duck and the Slip Coaches, that one's obviously a classic. Bill or Ben is great. I used that story outline for one of my episodes of my old series. I mean, everything after Steamy Stafford is like great Thomas content. And no bonus content is kind of a sticking point for me. I mean, the only thing that you have here are subtitles. You can turn them on or off. That's a bit lackluster. I would have preferred to have seen maybe cut half of the bad episodes out of here and put like, I don't know, a DVD game or something on this just to bolster it a little bit. For a DVD that's called First Class Stories, I expected way better episode choices. But if you take a look at the ones that I enjoy, you got Thomas and Gordon, Flying Kipper, Escape, Gallon Old Engine, Thomas and the Jet Engine, Snow Tracks, Switch, Bill or Ben, Not So Slow Coaches, Toad's Adventure, Duck and the Slip Coaches. That's like, what, 11 or 12 out of the 20 on here? So by definition, that's more than half of the episodes that I like on this release. So I kind of have to give it a recommend. You know what? I'll throw in like Steamy Stafford on there too. So it's like 11 or 12. I don't know. I can't count. It's not that bad of a release. I'll give it that. Like, you could have been better. Congratulations, you tried. It gets the gold star for trying. But that's my thing too, is like, yeah, it could have been better. There are so many other episodes here that could have been on this release and weren't considered, I guess. But the majority of the episodes I liked, so I kind of have to eke it over the side of recommendation. If I didn't, that would just be petty. So yeah, I recommend First Class Stories. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? eBay, because I think I paid a grand total of $5 for this, and with free shipping. And like I said, it was brand new sealed when it showed up on my doorstep. So yes, look for this on eBay. And number 5, what price should you pay? $5 to $10, easy, right in that sweet spot. I wouldn't pay any more than $10 for this DVD because it doesn't have a slipcover or anything like that. All right, folks. Well, that wraps up our season premiere of Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews, this brand new revival season for 2023. I want to thank you guys so very much for being here, hanging out with me for about 20 minutes, talking Thomas and Friends on DVD. I love doing this. It's I joked at the beginning that I might be a little rusty with this kind of thing, but no, not really. I got right back in the saddle. Kind of stinks, though, that we've started off here with kind of a mediocre release. I mean, it's not bad, not good. It kind of has to eke more along the side of good because it does have some stuff on it that I enjoy. I just wish that it could have been so much more. That's the issue for me, is there's wasted potential here. And I expect more out of Thomas's home country. For the United States, I mean, this is stupendous. For the releases that we've been getting right up until Thomas and Friends on physical media died, I mean, this is stellar. But for the UK, I expect way more from you guys. Well, as is tradition here on Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews, I'm here to tell you what we're covering next week, as to get everybody all hyped up for that. Next week is another DVD that Dan did not send me. This is another one that I picked up on my own prior to him sending me the message about sending me a whole bunch of stuff. Next week is going to be on the United Kingdom's version of Best of Thomas, or as they call it, The Best of Thomas. Very big difference there. Thank you all so very much for watching. I will see you all next week for that episode. Good night, everybody.